Welcome back to Big Purple Couch, and joining us here on the couch we have lovely ladies from the Caisa Fashion Show. Welcome here to the couch, and if you guys wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and your role with the fashion show.
Hi, my name is Adrienne Lee, and I'm the executive director of the show this year.
I'm Liza Jane DeVera. I'm creative director of the show.
And I'm Jill Osborne from Children's Health Foundation, and we're the very grateful charity to this wonderful group.
For sure. And we were talking to you guys earlier, and the name of the show is Impulse. But you were saying the theme is Vegas related and the 7 deadly sins. So would you mind just explaining that?
So basically, as creative director, I wanted to come up with a theme and like a storyline that would actually turn the show into more of a production this year, rather than just a runway and just like the acts and the dancers. So I came up with, we were talking about Las Vegas, and I didn't want to make it like another Viva Las Vegas sort of theme because that's been overdone. So we wanted to go with more of the Sin City feel. Okay. And with that being said, I kind of wanted the 7 deadly sins kind of incorporated with that. So that, because basically if you've been to the show before, you know that it's split up into scenes depending on the clothing genre of the show. So you have formal wear, you have semi-formal wear, lingerie, and so we have 7 scenes this year, and it's appropriate for the 7 deadly sins to lead each scene. So that's where it came from.
All right, perfect.
With being the creative director, are you also in charge of coming up with the music and sort of like the soundtrack for the show? Like, is that something that you also have to put a lot of thought into?
I definitely have say in that, but my main focus was to come up with like the theme. So I have the theme. I'm also, as creative director, I'm also head choreographer. So we have 4 choreographers this year, myself and 3 others. They have say on what music they use. I gave them a time limit, and they could make a mix. They could use 1, 2, 3, 4 songs, as much as they want, and then they just have to have it approved by me, and that's about it. But what I wanted this year is, say, like for Lust, for Wrath, whatever scene they were choreographing, I kind of wanted them to incorporate the master plan and like the storyline into that, so they'd use songs appropriate. So like for Greed, it's like money coming down and that kind of stuff.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I was talking to people about this before. With the Caisa Fashion Show, it's not your typical, just walk and strut your stuff. It's a storyline kind of this year. So would you mind just explaining how do you put it together as a story rather than just a fashion show?
Well, I can't release all that yet, so you have to come to the show. But basically, the main storyline is, like, I wanted the audience to be a part of it this year, so it's very interactive. Instead of having MCs just announce the show and the acts of the show like traditional Caisa Fashion Show would have, I have a main character, so that's kind of what the MC stands for this year, and he kind of leads you into it as a representative of the audience. So he's kind of like led into this world, and I guess you'll have to come see the show to figure that out.
Now I just want to hear a little bit from the executive director. How much work have you put into the show, and can you tell us a little bit about, when it's happening, how long it's going to be, those sorts of things that people will probably want to know about, a little bit more about. We'll hear a little bit more about the charity from Jill, but just tell us a little bit about your role.
Well, my executive team and I, we've been working on the show since last April, basically. And what we bring is a 2.5 hour show. We have just like a front of house where we have silent auctions donating from like really generous sponsors like Lexus of London. We have USC, Triple SC also donating to us. And what we do is like we have each scene play. We have an intermission, and then during intermission they can go for the silent auctions. Go look at our sponsors. We have a mini makeover also occurring that time. And then the rest of the show is going to be happening till like around 9:30. And then after, we have an after party that's included in the ticket. And the after party will be held at the London Music Hall. So it's just like a good appreciation thanks for coming out to our show and supporting us in the Children's Health Foundation.
So when you guys talk, just going a little bit more into the charity, you're talking about tickets, you're talking about silent auction, all that kind of stuff. Where would you say most of the donations come from for Caisa? Because I'm assuming that it also costs money to put on the show as well, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Really, all of the money really does come from the ticket sales. So whatever we sell to the students, to businesses, all the money really goes towards the Children's Health Foundation.
And Jill, just kind of turning to you about the actual foundation itself. All the money this year is focused towards the epigenetics unit. Would you mind explaining what epigenetics is?
Sure. I'll start first with Children's Health Foundation, and we raise money for Children's Hospital at London Health Sciences Centre, as well as the Children's Health Research Institute. And the epigenetics program actually falls under the Research Institute.
Right.
So epigenetics, it's a leading edge science around genetics, and really what it means is the actions of your parents and your grandparents and the environmental factors around them will affect you as an offspring. So just a really good clear example is if a dad started smoking when he was, say 10 or 11 years old, then his child, if it was a son, would be more likely to be overweight, to be obese. And so it's those environmental factors. They don't necessarily change the gene code, but they will mark it and affect offspring going forward. So we're really grateful for Caisa. They've been with us for almost 10 years, I think, and they have such vision and passion in making a difference for the kids in the region, southwestern Ontario, but also with a project like epigenetics around the world.
For sure. And guys, this is an absolutely amazing cause. You guys have been with the Children's Health Foundation for so long, raising around $95,000, and you were saying this year we're breaking 100,000, we're gonna do it. And guys, like they said, most of the money comes from ticket sales, so be sure to get your tickets, go and support this amazing cause. We need to make it over 100,000, so be sure to check that out and more here on Big Purple Couch.